Hello and welcome to the John Ark Show. Today, we're going to interview my friend, actor John Fiore. John has starred in a number of great movies and TV shows like The Sopranos, Law and Order, and many other shows. He's also been in great movies like Patriot's Day with Mark Wahlberg, Chappaquiddick, Mystic Pizza with Julia Roberts, and a lot of other great films. Before we begin, I want to encourage you to subscribe, like, comments, and follow us. We're going to have a lot of great celebrity interviews coming up, so I encourage you to click on the notification bell so you can be notified every time we upload a new episode. I'd also like to tell you about a service called HollywoodIsCalling.com. It's a great service that allows you to purchase live phone calls from your favorite celebrities, so check it out. HollywoodIsCalling.com. Now, let's say hello to John Fiore. Hello, John. Welcome to the John Ark Show. How are you today, sir?
I'm great, John. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it's our pleasure. First of all, John, I want to congratulate you on managing to build a long and successful career as an actor without having had to relocate to California full-time like so many other actors have had to do. Given all the insanity that's going on in California, how do you feel about not living there full-time now?
Well, I feel pretty good about it right now. It was once upon a time in my life I thought nothing other than living in California and living the Hollywood dream and so forth. But as I moved out of that phase of my life, California has indeed changed, as you refer to. So I don't feel like I'm missing anything right now.
Isn't it interesting how time changes everything? Because I felt the same way. I thought, California, here I come.
Right. Oh, yeah. Yeah. No, it's California. It's really a shame, isn't it? It's terrible.
Yeah. So Mystic Pizza with Julia Roberts was one of your first big pictures. What was it like to work with Julia so early in your career?
Well, it was very nice. I mean, I think she had only done Steel Magnolias at that point. So she was an up and comer. She was nothing, what she would become, of course. But to us still, she was kind of a young up and coming actor of renown, actress. And she was very pleasant. It was a very nice experience. It's a, fond movie to remember because it's still heavily played. It's always on TV. It's become a modern day classic.
Yeah. By the way, before we go on, I wanted to ask you, I'm assuming that your power came on shortly after we last spoke. So
it came on, time, John? It came on midnight that night.
Oh, good. Does that happen
much after they predicted?
Does that happen fairly often on the East Coast now, or not too often?
Well, where we are in New Hampshire right now, there's a lot of trees here. I would say it happens a good 2 times a year.
Okay.
Pretty much,
Yeah, that's still below. It's at the pain threshold, but close to it. If it got like California with the rolling blackouts, that would be a real nightmare.
Oh, I know. We have a generator, which you need a generator here. Otherwise, you'll be down for God knows how long. You don't know. It's worth having it.
How long can you run your generator on one full tank?
On one full tank, you probably get about 12 hours.
Oh, wow. And how many gallons would that be?
I think it's a 3-gallon or 4. I don't even know, but
that's not too bad. That's not as bad as I thought. I had thought you'd be driving to the gas station every 2 hours.
I did make a couple of trips because that went on for so long. That was a good day and a half at least. So I probably put about 3.5 jugs in there to make sure it was topped off at all times.
Yeah, that generator is probably a great investment.
It's the kind of thing you don't really want to buy because let's face it, it's not an exciting purchase, but when you need it, you thank God you have it. Otherwise, it would really be bad.
So you also did another major movie called Chappaquiddick that was about the car accident that Ted Kennedy had on the Chappaquiddick Bridge. Now, that movie was really well done, but now that you've done it, what do you believe really happened on that bridge on that historic day?
Well, I think old dear Ted Kennedy, the Lion of the Senate, I say facetiously, was intoxicated as he drove off the bridge, and he basically fled the scene, went back to his hotel room, and decided to call the police or whatever the next morning.
Wow.
He claimed he dove down that night it happened, trying to save her. He claimed he went back there with his friends to try to save her. But even at the end of that, he ultimately, this is what he claims, he decided to go back to his hotel room and go to sleep, or whatever he did, and call the police the next day. So it doesn't look good no matter how you cut it.
Yeah. I'm about half an hour from the White House, so I'm very familiar with DC. And I can't tell you on camera, but I have heard some unbelievable stories about Ted Kennedy in this area.
I've read some of them and heard some of them. There's a talk radio host in this town that's made a nice little career of dicing up the Kennedys pretty good. Yeah. And I've heard a lot of stuff about Ted that are pretty outrageous, even, of course, after Chappaquiddick, where he apparently did not learn his lesson.
Yeah, it's amazing. So you also starred in an incredibly popular TV series called Law and Order that is still loved by everybody today. It's almost like that show was designed to appeal to people who love intelligent stories and action. Other than the paychecks, what did you like most about working on that show?
Well, I liked, that was one of my first forays into New York City, coming from the Boston area. So I enjoyed being on a network primetime TV show playing a detective. It was kind of like a childhood dream to play a detective in a show. And I was there at the very beginning. I was in the pilot. So nobody obviously knew what it would become. And it turned out to be a long run for me with great people along the way. And it was a because I was recurring. It was a recurring gig for a good 10 years. Kept me going for a good 10.
Nice, nice. So Law and Order was written and created by Dick Wolf, who a lot of people, including myself, believe is a genius. Did you get to know him well over the years? And if so, what did you think of him?
Well, I liked him very much. I mean, I haven't spoken to him in many years. He was very nice, very pleasant to be around. He had a say in hiring me, of course, being the creator and the executive producer of the show, along with the directors and so forth that select the actor. But he was there to select me, so I'm grateful for that. And then years later, after I left the show, I saw him a couple of times, and he was very nice. We were in a restaurant, and he came to join our table for a drink or two. And that's probably the last time I've communicated with him in many years, but he was very nice.
Yeah, yeah. So what's interesting to me about Law and Order is how well it holds up over time. There's something about that format, the way the scripts are written, the way the show is formatted, that really stands the test of time, don't you think?
I really do think so. I mean, it had a gritty look, especially when it first started out. The camera style and the filming had almost a lot of handheld camera work. And it really gave a look into New York City detective life, unlike any show that had come before it. I think it was groundbreaking in that sense. It was a very realistic portrayal of life as a detective in the mean streets of New York City. And then, of course, you had the courtroom part of it, too, the second half, which was great.
You also starred in a really good Mark Wahlberg movie called Patriot Day. I really can't think of a single movie that Mark Wahlberg has done over the last 10 years or so that hasn't been a hit and that wasn't really good. How did you like working on that movie?
Oh, I liked it a lot because I'm from Boston and I lived there even then when that happened. So having that happen, and I knew people that were injured in that marathon bombing. So it was, I was glad to be part of it. It's unfortunate, of course, the whole thing had to happen in the first place. But when they made the movie and I was involved in it, I felt I was part of something that was kind of special and historical, and to try to make some sense of what happened, that terrible bombing.
Yeah, yeah. Before I go on, I have to ask you a question. Now that you mentioned that you're from Boston, I just met a model from Boston. And what should I know about women from Boston before I go any further?
Well, they can be pretty tough, but especially beneath the surface. It's cold here, it's windy, it's this and that. They're not naive. They're very nice, very nice. Like to eat, like to have a glass of wine. It's all good. Like to have a good time. There's a lot of stuff in the Boston area and Massachusetts and New England to do. But I've met some great people and women here in the Boston area. There's no question about it.
Yeah. So there's always something very believable and credible about the way you portray your characters on screen. How do you accomplish that? Was that your training as an actor, or was it the background you grew up in? Because there's a certain amount of gravitas that you present when you portray your characters, and the audience senses that.
Oh, thank you. I think it's a little bit of both. There's the training component, but I think over time, because for the most part, I'm not called upon to do roles like Daniel Day-Lewis would get, where you completely transformative. I'm not going to get that kind of role at this stage of the game. So you're getting the detective or this or that. And in reality, it's pretty close to who you are, who I am. And you just kind of like tweak it beyond there. So you're kind of yourself, but a little bit over here, or a little bit over there to give it a little pop to it. Mm. That's how I've settled into that kind of groove.
Now let's talk about one of the greatest TV shows ever created, and that, of course, is The Sopranos. First of all, how did the role come to you?
Well, I got an audition from my agent in New York City, and that was in season 2. And by then, I had wanted to be on the show. When it was airing originally, season 1 had taken place. I wasn't tapped in, I don't know if it had HBO, if I was watching it, whatever. It was sort of the beginning for HBO and doing that kind of stuff. So it took me a little while to get to it, but once I started watching it, I really liked it a lot. And I said, ooh, that's a show. I'd like to get on that. That would be a dream come true. Because I like the mafia stuff, and it appealed to me. So I got a call one day to go in for it in season 2, and I did, and I got it. And it spilled over heavily into season 3, and then even one in season 4. And obviously, none of us knew how big it was going to be still.
Yeah.
So I'm tickled to be part of it.
And you know what? Now there's a whole new generation of people discovering it again on the streaming services and, on HBO, and they love it just as much as anyone else has.
Yeah, they really do. I call it the show that, like the Emerson, Lake and Palmer song, "Welcome Back, My Friends, to the Show That Never Ends." It really doesn't end because, just what you said, John, in the past 20 years since it's debuted, it went off the air probably a while ago. It's picked up steam and more steam and more steam. And we get written to, all of us that have been on the show through social media, from fans all over the world, young in their 20s and their 30s, as well as up to, 80, 90 years old. It really spans the whole gamut of ages that love that show.
Do you remember the day when you got the call telling you that you got the job? And did you realize what a big deal it would be?
Well, I was very happy. I remember getting the call saying I got it, and I was thrilled by it. I didn't know how long I'd be in it or anything like that. I was just day by day with it. I said, I got a day, next week or whatever. When I got it, I said, good, I'm in it. We'll see what happens. And then, of course, the show was like a runaway train. It got bigger. Each season got bigger and bigger. Even after season 2, it was a gigantic hit, but not as big as season 3. After season 4, you know what I mean? It got bigger and bigger and bigger. Just when you thought it couldn't get any bigger, it got bigger. So, and as the dust settles now, it's a finished piece. So people reflect and study everybody that's been on the show. Even if you had a short duration or a longer one, when you're written off and the show is going by, people are focused on the new episode. But now that it's hanging on the museum wall, people study it. So they know every move you've ever made on it.
Now, at some point in your career, you reach a point of critical mass where when you walk down the street, go to the mall, show up in public somewhere, people immediately recognize you. Did that occur during Law and Order at some point, or was that a Sopranos sort of influence? At what point do you reach that stage in your career where everybody recognizes you?
Well, for me, it's happened. I don't really have that problem in a day-to-day life. I don't. Certain people recognize you and other people don't. It's just how it is. I mean, some days you can get recognized twice. You can go many days or weeks not get recognized at all. For me, for my level where I'm at. Sometimes you get to know the look that people are kind of looking, and you say to yourself, maybe that person might recognize me. I don't know. You get used to the look, you know.
Yeah.
But like I said, it's not really a problem or anything like that for me.
So how did you like working with James Gandolfini? Because I've
Oh,
heard unbelievable stories about him.
oh, he's tremendous. He was the nicest guy. I mean, really a man's man, a very nice, giving person, actor. Really, I can't say enough good things about him. Yeah, and when he was here, everybody said the same thing about him. It didn't take his passing for people to immortalize him, because even when he was here, people sang his praises, and justifiably so. He was a wonderful, wonderful guy.
You know, I've heard from other actors on the show that James really helped them,
Oh yeah,
above
yeah,
and beyond.
yeah. Because you're stepping into this monster show. He's the son of the universe of that show. It all spins around him. He's the daddy of that show, if you will. And you kind of go into it's how it was, like a loving embrace of him, especially if you're doing scenes with him. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you were just tickled to be there
Yeah.
doing it with him.
Now, they held a Sopranos convention not too long ago, and I watched it on YouTube. It was really good to see everyone from the show there. First of all, how did you enjoy it? And what was it like meeting so many fans from all over the world who came all the way there to see you guys?
It was amazing. They truly did come from all over the world. There's people from Egypt, from several countries in Europe that came specifically for that convention. We had a great time. There was 15,000 people strong there. I mean, it was just insane. It was fantastic. People knew every little piece of minutia of that show, you know?
Yeah. Now, I heard that when you entered the convention that there was a giant portrait of Gandolfini's face, and that his family members actually teared up when they saw that, when they walked into the convention center.
Oh, it was amazing. It was breathtaking honor and tribute to him. Because my opinion is, although there's many great talented people, from David Chase on down, that made that show, the essential to me, the creator of the show is essential, but to me, James Gandolfini was the guy that made that show go into the stratosphere. I don't think anybody could have pulled off that role like him, but that was quite a tribute. There was a gigantic picture of him painting, piece of art, and it was beautiful.
Yeah, I cannot think of another more charming gangster portrayed in the movie than Gandolfini.
Oh, he's the greatest anti-hero. Nobody but James, with his look, smile, his eye twinkle, can go from that little boy kind of like persona he had,
Yeah,
to his angry killer face. It was people can't do that. It was kind of really a gift as an actor to have that. Like, he did that.
Are they going to do another Sopranos convention this year or next? Have you heard anything?
Well, yes, they're doing a thing called virtual cons, by the way, the same people that it's going to be the future of live events. People can dial me up or anybody up at any time. There'll be content on there. They can request a live thing like this. If say a fan or whatever wants to talk to you, they could do it that way. But I'm sure they are also going to plan to maybe have some live events down the road as things clear up,
Nice, nice. Now, the new Sopranos movie is called The Many Saints of Newark. Now, I heard that they have once again pushed back the release date to September 24th of 2021. Have you heard anything good or bad about the movie?
Honestly, I have not heard. I haven't heard anything about it except for what you said, that it's been pushed back. I think it's going to be really good. I don't think it's pushed back for any, negative reasons. My opinion, I think it's just timing. The virus. They figure they have some time. A lot of great companies were withholding their products. So if there's time to do something to it that you want to do, maybe they figure, hey, why not? Whatever. But I think that they're in good hands and it's going to be a smash hit.
So you've got a movie coming out called Coda that's generating a lot of buzz. Can you tell us about it?
Well, CODA stands for Children of Deaf Adults, an acronym. It did gangbusters at the Sundance Film Festival. I think it won the grand jury prize, whatever they call it there. It was bought by Apple TV for $25 million, a record, any film ever, you know. So my role is not tremendous, but it's in there. It's not bad. I'm glad to be part of it, especially because it's going to be a smash hit. It is a smash hit. And once it's out there, it's going to have a lot of mojo going for it.
Yeah, you seem to have a real gift for selecting very, very good property to work in. It's you know.
I mean, yeah, I hope so. I mean, sometimes they select me, and sometimes they don't select me. You know?
Yeah.
So I'm available. There's things I wish I was in that I didn't pick me for, and there's other things I stumbled into. I'm grateful to be in there. It's really sometimes a crapshoot, I must say. You know?
Yeah. So you're also doing a podcast with a great name called Be a Man.
Yeah.
It's a comedic podcast about the assault on masculinity. It's a great idea. Can you tell us about it?
Well, that's exactly what it is. There's a friend of mine who developed this Be a Man. They do sort of bits that are geared for TikTok and social media, where there's be a man. And they have like a visual support. It's a comedic sort of thing, you know. So that caught on real big. So then the guys who did that approached me, because I'm friends with them, to do a podcast with a guy we call Be a Man. He's going to be an enigmatic figure. He doesn't have a name. He's Be a Man. We refer to him as Be a Man. What do you think? So Be a Man will be here. I'll be the one who does quite a bit of yapping, and I'll say Be a Man, and he'll chime in with his pearls of wisdom, because that's what his moneymaker is. And it's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. And we've done a few. We're going to probably roll them out, you know, hopefully in the next week or so. I'm not in charge of that. I'm not doing that part of it. But they're cutting up pieces and segments and episodes and kind of have a rollout, so there'll be content coming out, you know, steady.
By the way, I have to commend you once again on doing the amount of social media that you are doing, whether it's the podcast, whether it's the other things that you're doing online. And the reason for that is I know hundreds of celebrities, and those who are now investing themselves very enthusiastically with the creation of content online, whether it's a podcast or whether it's a show online, wherever it be, their market value is rising dramatically. So, you know, I think it's very fortuitous of you, and I think it's very wise of you to go down this path, because I think good things will come from it. I really do.
Oh, thank you. I hope so. It's enjoyable to do, as the hiring of me, you know, waxes and wanes. It does, John. You know, it's sometimes you're in demand, sometimes you're not in demand at all. This gives us an opportunity to do stuff, be creative, be out there, be seen, fulfill that need within us that made us want to be actors in the first place. We're not as concerned as we get a little older, as, you know, we want money, of course, but we're not. It's not the be all and end all. You know? So there's a little bit of a chill component that's come over me. That, like, hey, you know, I'll just go with the flow from here on out, you know, best I can.
Yeah, but you're taking an active role in directing things, and that's really important. I was talking to Ron Perlman from Beauty and the Beast years ago, and he said that was the #1 hit show for 10 years, and afterwards, his phone stopped ringing completely. And he said he never gave up, and then when his career reignited, with Sons of Anarchy and all the other shows that he did, it's really interesting the way the universe tests a human being. It gives you everything, then it takes a rest, then it comes back at you hard. It's very interesting the way that happens.
Yeah. As long as you don't go away permanently, or, you know, one way or the other, you stay there.
Yeah.
And you still want to do it. There may be, you know, in the last 10 years, I've had some good years, some not so good, some nothing years.
Yeah.
But it does come back around, it seems. If you're still there and you're still standing when that bell rings for the 15th round, you're going to get something once in a while.
And that's not just the entertainment industry. I think that's everything in life.
Yes.
Everything.
Right.
So before we wrap things up, is there anything else you would like to promote?
Well, I'm developing. I don't have, you know, I'm going to get back in touch with you, John, because you are a great promoter. I've got a couple of scripts in serious development that I'm going to probably roll out on Indiegogo. There are a couple of dramas. They're crime films, 2 of them. And I have a comedic property, but I'm going to try to do the 2 crime ones. They're not mafioso movies. They're more of heist blue collar men in dire straits, being opportunistic. But a lot of it really is the drama, the interpersonal drama between the characters who are put into the situation. And when the time comes, I'm going to roll it out there. I don't want to be premature with it because people go, oh, yeah, the guy making a movie. But when the time comes, I'm going to slap it up there. And we're going to try to get some.
Nice. See, there again, once again, you're taking charge of your destiny. That's the important thing. Well, John, it's been a real pleasure having you on the John Ark Show. I want to wish you continued success and thank you for being so generous with your time. You're always welcome back on the show, sir. Well,
thank you, John. It was a pleasure. I enjoyed it.
Yeah. It's great to have a solid video signal and a solid audio signal.
I know. It's great. I even look better to myself here.
Well, thank you once again, and we'll look forward to seeing you again.
All right, John.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
I want to thank John for coming on the John Ark Show, and I also want to thank our viewers for watching and tell you that we're going to have more great celebrity interviews and more breaking news stories coming up in the future. So we want to encourage you to subscribe to our channel and click on the notification bell so you can get notified every time we post a new story. Thank you for watching, and we will see you again soon.